Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I'm back. It's been a minute. We want to talk about, of course, what's going on with Diddy's pre-sentencing. And I want to know how y'all been. What's going on? Before we do anything, I need to know, can you hear me? How do I sound? Please let me know sooner rather than later. Sound good? Okay, you sure? Okay. I haven't been live since early August. So it's good to be back. I'm trying to think, am I going to give this a minute or we're just going to dive right in? I think I'll give it a couple minutes. So just hang tight and I'll be right back. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome or welcome back. Let me turn this off so I can make sure you can hear me. Hold on, child. So I haven't been on in almost almost 2 months. I just went to Pacer, it looks like, and I went to had to pay the bill. I forgot it's not an automatic billing. I had to cut off all that automatic billing stuff. Okay. But yeah, welcome or welcome back. Peace, world, peace. Goddess Dawn Speaks, aka the $1 trillion goddess baby. Wow, it's been a minute. I feel like I'm a little bit lost, but I am here because your boy Diddy had his acquittal hearing today. And we're going to go through the transcript of that, thanks to Inner City Press, as always. And, talk about the couple of odds and ends that's been going on around the case. There's been a lot of back and forth between the defense and the prosecution, of course, about this sentencing. Each side has had to present information to support whatever it is they're trying to get out of the judge. I know that the defense, if they could have their way, he'd be going home today. But I guess second best to that would be after the October 3rd sentencing, like the same day after. But according to what I've been hearing is coming in and being filed by the probation department and the government, they're looking at giving him a little more time than what he really wants to chew on. Okay. I think that they might be a little delusional over there in Diddy camp about the fact that, he's going to get a new trial. Now that's what this hearing is about. They want to acquit him on the Mann Act charges, saying that those charges and the trial within the trial, defending those charges, it got all muddled up with the RICO charges. And they're saying it's not fair. It's not fair that these things were all put together in one big bowl of soup when, it's going to affect the other charges. The charges, even though he was acquitted on the RICO, he still has to face these Mann Act charges. As much as they want to belittle the charges, they are serious charges. I mean, I hear people, even today, I heard some people at the courthouse saying that, how ridiculous it is that it's even being entertained that he's going to do time for these Mann Act charges, that these Mann Act charges are outdated, that, they're really just three. What did I hear? This guy said 3 consensual adults having, a threesome is what they said. They left out the solicitation part of it, all the things we learned. We don't need to revisit all those details. Before we get into all the details, though, I want to say what's up, warriors, chosen ones. What's going on? Hope all is well. I think we're heading into fall. Are we in fall yet? I think it's fall. Autumn, fall. Juti, I see you. Wayne, Michelle. What's going on, people? A couple of people came in. Miss Sunshine to you. Mia X. Wayne, of course. Love Warrior. Black Letter Law. PJ Corleone. All the people. Oh, just warm my heart. Faye Crossling. What's going on? Yes, please like, share, and comment. Why not? But yeah, thanks to everybody for popping in. So before the hearing today, there were headlines about, this is how I'm catching everything the same way y'all are. But headlines saying that all these character letters were coming in. Character letters from Young Miami and different people like that. Probably, I think most, if not all the people, not probably all, but most of the people who testified for the government, I think even sent a letter in. So I wanted to just briefly look at that. I'm not going to read those letters. Not interested. But let's see. Yeah, let's What'd you say, Juti? They're just making him pay while they still can. I agree with that. They're like, look, we got him now. While we have him, let's make sure we do everything and anything we can to keep him as long as we can, because we know he needs to be in here. Michelle said, very much guilty. Guilty as charged. Absolutely. I agree. Y'all know I agree. Well, Wayne said guilty, guilty, guilty. All right. So according to reports, I'm going to have to take a second. Let me see. Did I get that go through on Pacer or not? Let me see if it let me log in. What's going on, Pacer? Here's my code. There we go. Okay. And we're in. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, give me a second, Joe. Let me just... I gotta find the case again. I had everything all lined up. Most recent. Okay, wrong one. Here we go. USA versus Combs. Most recent. So yeah, there's been a lot of filings. Some sealed things as well. But yeah, let's talk about these letters. So they say, this is from Spiritual World on Instagram. They said, as Sean Diddy Combs awaits sentencing, several character reference letters have surfaced in court filings. Young Miami, Carisha Brownlee, her government name, described him as a supportive partner who motivated her personally and professionally, while highlighting his private acts of generosity and commitment to personal growth. His mother, Janice Combs, pleaded for leniency, citing her deteriorating health after 2 brain surgeries and ongoing struggles with diabetes, expressing her wish to see her son home with family. Former Bad Boy artist Carl Thomas also wrote in support, recalling Diddy's mentorship and private acts of kindness, urging the court to consider the broader impact of his life beyond current charges. Wow. So, yeah, they posted the letters. Look how short Janice is. Janice gave a whole 3 paragraphs, and as did Carl Thomas. He gave a little short something, but Carisha gave it her all. She gave it a whole page and a half here. And I don't think any of them wrote any of this, to be honest, but that's my opinion. So that's just one of the things that I had seen come across the headlines with regard to Diddy. Now, there hasn't been a lot, obviously, because, we're kind of in hold formation. We're in waiting mode for this sentencing date coming up now in less than a week. Well, about a week, close to a week. The 3rd is on Friday. So yeah, next Friday, he'll know his fate. We'll know his fate. So in the meantime, though, let's get to this hearing and see what happened in court today. Of course, Inner City Press was there live, giving us the 411, spilling the tea. At 11:04 a.m., they said Combs is still in his holding cell. At the defense table, Alexandra Shapiro, now also representing an Alexander brother. Oh, yeah, I forgot about those guys. Justin Baldino and Charlie Javis. I'm not sure who Charlie Javis is, but what they're saying is Alexandra Shapiro is busy. She has a lot of people she's representing, and these are big cases. I know the Alexander brother and Justin Baldino, he was in the suit with Ryan Reynolds and his wife. What's his wife? I forgot his wife's name, but I think it was the wife. But the lady is busy, and people are moving on at this point. People are moving on. Yes, Nia, October 3rd is the date. Definitely welcome everybody new. Thank you, Wayne. Juti said, oh, yes, ma'am. Since you're sick, we shall pass on your son's crime. The nerve. Exactly. Yeah, it's all about her, right? Sound like she's a narcissist like her son. Nah, that's Justin Baldoni. Baldoni. Um, Michelle said, blah, blah, guilty, Diddy, don't feel sorry for you. GT said, and it's a civil suit, not criminal. Oh, right. Yeah. I think those are civil suit. Well, let me get back over here. The Alexander brother is obviously is a criminal suit. There's a lot of R word charges up under that man's name, him and his brothers. But anyway, these lawyers got to keep the lights on. Okay. Inner City Press goes on at 11:06 to post Sean Combs is brought in MDC tan gel uniform. Apparently, the proposed order for button-down shirt didn't get signed, child. Yeah, so I guess the judge was like, nah, stay in your skivvies. Stay in your jumper. You're going to be in that thing for a minute. Don't even bother. Don't even bother. So they go on to let us know Sean Combs unloaded papers from a big file folder. He is seated between Driscoll and Brian Steele, just waiting for Judge Subramanian. Apparently, the judge comes in. All rise. The clerk says, appearances. Alexander Shapiro says, with us is Mark Garagos. Oh, sorry, Tenny Garagos. And there was some laughter in the courtroom. What a slap in the face to Tenny. Is it Teeny? Teeny? What a slap in the face. Oops, not her dad. I'm sorry. Oops. Wow. Are they just like doing that for clout, trying to flex? What is that about? Or even though that was the clerk, my bad. No, that was Shapiro. How's your coworker going to get your name wrong? What a diss. So the judge then says, you don't have to take the full 15 minutes if you've said all you need. Please proceed. Did they even start yet for him to say that? The judge is ready to go already, okay? He's like, I don't even know why we're here. So the government then says, we point to U.S. versus Kelly, Second Circuit, 2025, which stands that Combs' Rule 29 arguments had to have been raised pre-trial. They've waived. This is in parentheses. This is on the judge's first question. Any case that has deemed a defendant's Rule 29 argument waived or forfeited. The judge says, let's separate out the jury instructions. You're saying that this defendant's constitutional argument should have been made at Rule 12 stage? USA Johnson says that's correct. The judge says the defense is making an as applied argument that they can do on Rule 29. USA Johnson says, I want to push back on their reading of the cases. In Dennis, the defendant was arguing he couldn't be tried without infringing on the First Amendment. The parties agreed. It was only about sufficiency. The judge says, but the court went right past waiver. Ms. Shapiro, can you address these arguments? Combs' lawyer Shapiro says, the Dennis case is on point. The court made clear that statutory construction arguments can be raised under Rule 29. Also, the Lopez case, I argued it. The judge says, let's put the financial motive to the side. Why wouldn't Mr. Combs be liable under a willfully causing theory? Ms. Ventura or Jane furnished the payment for the escorts, but Mr. Combs still had the relevant intent. No. Shapiro says no. Many states find that prostitution is only when A pays B for sex with A. Here, the government is trying to get around it. But the cases where people watch others having sex, it's not prostitution. It's the actus reus in the Mann Act is transportation. Oh, I'm sorry. The actus reus in the Mann Act is transportation. Okay, and let me sidebar. If you're paying for it, isn't that count as prostitution if it's a sex act? Okay. Let me come over and see if anyone's commenting. Okay, Nia says, ooh, take that. No button up for you. It might have been a Freudian slip. Mm-mm-mm. Do we want to see him in his, well, this is not a tan jumper, but this is what's happening. So Shapiro goes on, commercial voyeurism is not prostitution. A number of states say there's a Paulino case in New York and a Georgia case. The government had alleged that a private residence had been used for prostitution, but the court said no, voyeurism. The statute originally had a section about debauchery, which was excised later. The Supreme Court reversed a Seventh Circuit holding that had affirmed of conviction where the defendants did not have a commercial motive. Traveling interstate for a woman being a mistress or a concubine, the judge interrupts. The Cleveland case said that polygamy met the moral purposes test. Shapiro says, respectfully, I disagree. There was a late 19th century case about immigration. All of the federal constitutional law that developed around privacy of sexual relations, the judge interjects. Miss Foster? USA Foster says, this case is different from where a person in a booth watches people have sex. Combs is challenging the term prostitution. Here, the woman helped arrange the transportation of the escorts. So for the defendant, it's aiding and abetting. The judge says, you're saying that he had the intent. They paid the money. They had the sex that is willfully caused. Shapiro says, may I respond? The judge says, I'll give you time at closing. Ms. Slavic? USA Slavic says, the record does not show every time an escort traveled and had sex with the sex act that the sex act was filmed. They only say routinely filmed. He frequently filmed freak-offs or hotel nights, but not all the time. The explicit video charts show that there was travel for sex, but sometimes there were no videos recovered of those encounters. We can pull up the exhibits. The judge says, you argue that even if they were filmed, it wouldn't matter. Slavic says, right. Okay, sidebar. Why do I feel like the judge is helping the government? The judge is like, let me rephrase this. Let's clarify. So this is what you're saying, right? And listen, I'm here for it. Hey, justice is justice. Slavic then says, the Mann Act criminalizes travel for prostitution, not filming sex. The test for symbolic speech is whether there is an intent to convey a meaning. The transportation conveys no message. There is no symbolic speech here. In O'Brien, they protected symbolic speech was the protected symbolic speech was the burning of the draft cards. Here, transportation is not symbolic speech. The judge says, if a movie producer is making pornographic films, are you saying the First Amendment is not implicated? USA says, a closer call. In the other case cited, the producer said, when they transported, we'll be filming a movie. Here, he only intended the individuals to engage in prostitution. The defendant here was not an amateur porn producer. The judge says, if we get to O'Brien, what is the important governmental interest? Slavic says, there is a substantial governmental interest in regulating prostitution. 478 U.S. 697, 1986. The court declined to apply O'Brien because the act had nothing to do with speech. Justice Souter in dissent said he would have applied O'Brien, but even he agreed that regulating prostitution is an important governmental interest. On laws against nude dancing, court finds secondary impacts important. There are reasons to regulate prostitution. See erotic service provider 880 F3D 459 Circuit 2018 about a California prostitution law. It's to prevent violence against women and for health. All 50 states regulate prostitution to different degrees. The federal interest kicks in for transportation interstate or internationally. The Barnes case found that requiring pasties for dancing was okay. The judge says, Ms. Shapiro, on the First Amendment, Shapiro says it was filmed the majority of the time. So they're making it like he's a film producer. This is me sidebarring. So now he's an amateur. He's a film producer. Okay, Shapiro says just because the footage wasn't found doesn't matter. The U.S. has ignored our second First Amendment argument that he was a consumer of amateur porn. As to being a producer, amateur porn is protected by the First Amendment. Shapiro says at trial, they emphasized that it was choreographed, that there was role playing and wigs. It was filmed so covered by the First Amendment. But Mr. Combs also had a right as a consumer of amateur porn. See Free Speech Coalition versus Paxton. Jane even bought a TV so they could watch the videos together. The judge says, how does that apply to transportation count? To the transportation count. Shapiro says, if the intent included filming and watching later. The judge says, so not prostitution if it's recorded and watched later? Shapiro says, you wouldn't have to find this. This is a unique case. The judge says, Ms. Slavic pointed out the government's other interests, including transportation across state lines. Shapiro says, you have to look at the conduct of this defendant. Judge says, they say drug use. Shapiro says, the only drug charge there was in the RICO charge of which Mr. Combs was acquitted. DOJ policy doesn't even say what Ms. Slavic says. It says the statute should only be used on prostitution as a business or the trafficking of minors. The judge says, those were my questions, Ms. Shapiro? Shapiro says, I believe Ms. Foster said the two women testified they were paying for prostitution. We must have been in a different trial. I don't remember either women saying they were involved in prostitution. Okay, let me refresh this. So the judge says, let me ask you, a businessman takes one of his clients to a brothel and pays a prostitute to have sex with his client. That's not prostitution? Shapiro says, is he a voyeur as well? Shapiro says, continues, the Mann Act has racist origins. Even 100 years ago, the statute was being criticized by many Supreme Court justices. Many juries refused to enforce it. This statute is embarrassing to the U.S. I submit respectfully. Mr. Combs should be acquitted of the Mann Act counts. Thank you. AUSA says the purpose of the Mann Act has no impact on First Amendment activities. The arguments about DOJ policy, those have been argued before. There was a motion to dismiss, denied. They claim there should be no concern about secondary effects because it was behind closed doors, but that's the point. Ms. Ventura was being punched and kicked. The defendant has the burden to show that the evidence was not sufficient. They can't do it. Cassie and Jane both testified, although they didn't want to be having sex with others, but they had to for days. He planned them. He choreographed them for his own pleasure. If the escort wouldn't perform, he was paid less. This went on for 15 years. The evidence is sufficient. The defendant's motion should be denied. The judge says, thank you. Anything about sentencing if the motion is not granted? Shapiro says no. The judge says, let me give you an opportunity because just in case this thing is not granted, wink, wink, because it ain't going to be. Anything else? They said no. Judge said, I'll decide soon. Adjourned. He didn't give anything specific, no specific time frame or timeline, just the word soon. We know that the sentencing date is also soon. So I have a feeling the judge will address this either the dawn of sentencing, the midnight hour prior to sentencing, or at the sentencing hearing. He may just address it at the sentencing hearing. What do y'all think? Michelle, new demons, new levels of guilt. Diddy tried to hide the devil. Yeah, he tried to hide a lot of things. And devil, yeah, I mean, I think the devil definitely inspired a lot of what's going on here. That is for sure. So that's how it went today. I don't personally think the judge is going to grant this acquittal. And if he does, then that means he'll be retried. This is my understanding, at least, that he'll be retried for the Mann Act charges. And he better be careful because if they have to do that, they may bring on some additional charges that he is not trying to see. You know what I'm saying? You said Christian next in line. Christian, oh, his son. Yeah, they're not out of the water. There's still a lot going on around these guys. Metro Boomin, the producer, his trial started, I believe, yesterday. He had an SA charge as well. A lot of these people in the industry, the lines were so blurred, unfortunately, that a lot of these people just took advantage of the freedoms that they were given, and things just got out of hand. Things went too far. And look at this David situation. You guys following that story? It's all over the news. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I have something saved on that. Let me see here. Yeah, this was a week ago where this thing started going crazy viral. This singer, David, who I personally had never heard of prior to this, but he was living large, had a label deal and a big fan base apparently. But yeah, authorities identified there was a body found in an abandoned Tesla of his. It was registered to him. It was impounded, and when it was in the impound lot, I believe the next day, the people, I don't know if the workers, I guess, were smelling something out the car. They opened the truck and found body parts, child, and they have since identified the body parts to be this girl who was on the eve of her 15th birthday, named oh my God, I can't think. Celeste. God rest her soul. So a lot has gone on since this was reported a week ago, as far as the things that the internet has produced, child. These internet sleuths, they are giving the feds, the state police, everybody else the run for their money. A lot of clues have been found, and his guilt is looking imminent. So there's a lot of things to talk about in the world itself in general. So I can just kind of warm myself up and come back until the sentencing hearing, which I am so looking forward to. Child, are we taking bets? What are we doing for the sentencing? Yes, Celeste, thank you. Definitely a crazy story and sad for sure. Think about her parents. Now I'm hearing different stories too about the parents having accepted money on a monthly basis to keep quiet or whatever. I don't know if that's true. There's a lot of things that were posted. A lot of things can't be proven. I'm just wondering why he hasn't been arrested. I know that he left the mansion that he was staying in, I think the one the police raided. Yeah, I will come more often, Juti. I think I will. I'm gonna have to make some time, even if it's just a quick 30 minutes like right now. I think I can manage that. I think what happens is I build up in my head. I want to do it, but then I have so much going on. Then I'm like, I won't have time. But on here and chop it up and talk to you guys about this stuff. Now, with regard to Diddy, let's get back to this sentencing because it's coming up next Friday. What do y'all think? What are we looking at? So we know that he has 2 Mann Act charges. Both hold up to 10 years max each charge. A lot of people are saying he's going to get out the day of the sentencing with time served. In for now just over a year. People are saying he's going to get at least 2 years. I'm saying I know that the prison department, the probation department, they submitted their recommendation. Let me look at that real quick. Actually, I have the thing up. So let's see. That was submitted. Letter and motion. Court will hold a hearing post trial. Okay, it's going to take me a minute to find this thing. So maybe I'll come back and talk about it tomorrow. With the memo from the probation department said, I think they recommended 5 times the average amount. I believe I remember hearing someone reading 5 times. So that we're looking at like 15 years, a recommendation. Chrissy Power. Juti says 4 years. Life goes by fast. Like it does. Definitely does. So I think the probation department suggested something like 15 years. They said 5 times more than what the regular person would get. The government, of course, said they want more than what they had initially proposed as well. I think his team, again, say he's done. He should just do a year, and he's already done that. I'm pretty sure they just want him out. But I think he could get at least a decade. But I'm thinking maybe 4 to 6 somewhere. Juti, you said 4. Maybe I'll tack on a couple more. 6 years. But whatever it is, he needs to sit in there for a minute. He needs to still stay in there. And I can't wait until they release his jail calls the same way they did Young Thug. I am so interested to see. I'm not sure if those things are available yet publicly, maybe until after the sentencing. But those are public records once the court releases all that stuff, and they will. And we are going to get to see what the heck. Here's some of these phone calls. I know he was sounding crazy, talking to his kids. Michelle said 10 to 15. Yeah, Juti, that's going to be the T right there. We need to listen, I can access them. I think anybody publicly can access. I think it just costs money. Maybe we have to do a crowdfunder. Yes. What is FOIA? I don't know what that is. Or am I just blanking out? But yeah, we need to make sure that I think somebody, as soon as Young Thug's calls were coming out, that's immediately where my mind went. Like, oh, I can't wait to hear Diddy. I can't wait to hear with Diddy. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll do a crowdfunder. Oh, and thank you for the Cash App. I saw you said you sent me one. Thank you so much. But listen, I'm gonna call it. Listen, he had this hearing today, but we are really, really banking on some type of satisfaction, child, because this trial did me in. It really did put me in a different space. I think there was a timeline shift too, honestly, universally. You can look that up, because honestly, a lot of things happened in my life. Like right after that trial, I had a lot of things ramp up as far as how busy I got on certain ends, things that weren't as busy, or just different things are happening. So it's a good thing. And I hope everybody else is doing well. And I hope you have love and peace in your lives, and that, you're being the light you want to see in the world. That's what we're here to do, baby. Anyway, appreciate y'all so much. Like, share, subscribe. Just like R. Kelly. Give it to him, baby. Yeah. All right, y'all. Till next time, maybe tomorrow, because I'm gonna look at some of these documents and see what we've been missing. But I'll definitely post it, and I'll keep you posted. Till then, bye.